Now, as we all know, when we talk of Germany, we usually mean the Federal Republic of Germany in the form in which it has existed since the 3rd of October 1990. That's the date the country was reunified and assumed the borders that it has today. But there are some people for whom this Germany doesn't exist. Welcome to the world of the Reichsbürger. The name means citizen of the empire because these people believe that the German Empire continues to exist as it did either just before the First World War or just before the Second World War, take your pick. The Federal Republic, they say, is not a sovereign state. They base this on various legal arguments which, how shall I put this, are not regarded as convincing by any actual legal experts. To pick just one example, the Reichsbürger movement often points to Article 146 of the German Basic Law. It states that the Basic Law, which came into effect on German reunification, remains valid until replaced by a constitution voted for by the German public. Aha, says the movement. So the Basic Law admits it's not a constitution. Therefore, the Federal Republic of Germany has no constitution. And if it has no constitution, it doesn't exist. Except that the Federal Republic does have a constitution. It's called the Basic Law. It doesn't have to be called the Constitution in order to be a constitution. In fact, it doesn't even have to be a single document, it can be anything. The most famous example is the United Kingdom, which has a constitution, but the laws making up the constitution simply haven't been gathered together in one place. Nevertheless, it has a constitution. Basically, Article 146 says that the constitution remains in effect until a new constitution comes into force. But the new constitution can't come into force until it's agreed upon by the German electorate. What it emphatically does not say is that the Basic Law is somehow not a real constitution. And I'm going to have to stop saying constitution now. At this point, you may be thinking that this is just a harmless conspiracy theory. Unfortunately, it's more serious than that, and it's a real problem for German law enforcement. Since these people refuse to recognise the legitimacy of the Federal Republic, they refuse to cooperate with its government. Tax evasion, refusal to comply with court orders, non-payment of fines, all these are commonplace. Sometimes this erupts into violence. In one incident, a bailiff was kidnapped. In another, a former Mr. Germany turned Reichsbürger was badly injured in a gunfight with police. Particularly worrying for the authorities is that many of these people also have links with extremist right-wing groups and Holocaust deniers. Which makes sense. This movement would represent a desire to turn the clock back to a time before the event they say never happened. The government estimates that there are, well, several hundred of these people in Germany. The movement began in the 1980s, but really picked up steam with the advent of social media, apparently because it's now so much easier to spread conspiracy theories. Anyhow, having made this video, I can now sit back and watch the comments come rolling in. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not send me a postcard? Here's the address. Or visit Rewboss.com, follow me on Twitter, subscribe to my blog. Constitution, 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 Constitution.